Hello, it is Bridget. I wanted to check in on a fun topic, kind of, for summer especially, which is intuitive travel planning. So, whether you go by train or by plane, what day you leave, where you're going to go, which plane flight at what time, which seat on the plane you would like, all of these things can be chosen intuitively, which is nice. It doesn't have to happen that way, but for many, many years now, I have created my itinerary or kind of run from one flight to a different one if this flight feels like it's not going to work out, in order to have pretty sweet, pleasant, positive travel experiences. So, for example, you're planning to go from Seattle to New York, and you have a whole bunch of possibilities because there's a lot of flights and a lot of airlines. What I will often do, although I tend to pick our local carrier here in Seattle, Alaska, but I will look at, say, all my returns and literally pay attention to what feels most attractive to me on the page. Truly. So if there's a 12:23 p.m. flight and a 7:23 flight, and then there's the red eye, a lot of times I don't like red eyes, but for some reason it might feel right to do the red eye. And I may discover later that by arriving when I did early in the morning on that particular day, I opened myself up to a unique option to meet up with some folks on my way in from the airport. Or the thing that often happens is you either meet someone interesting on the plane, or you don't meet anyone and you get the chance to rest and you just have beautiful views. Or you're closer to someone who turns out needs your help, or you don't really know why you end up where you do necessarily. But I'll tell a little story from a friend who had the kind of the receptive end of travel coming up for her this summer, which was her parents and brothers came to visit her here in Seattle, and she hadn't seen any of them for a little bit. And her brothers in particular are similar age to her, working age, busy, kind of go-go guys. And both of them wanted to arrive pretty late at night and then stay with her, which meant they would fly in sometime around 11:30, and then show up at her place well past midnight, 1 a.m. And she just really didn't want them to do that. When she tuned into it, it felt bad. It felt like an exhausting process. And so she tuned into that, which is a form of, travel planning with others. And she said, basically, I will not allow you to enter my home after 9 p.m. And they fought on it a little bit, but eventually they rearranged their thoughts, and they hadn't booked their flights yet, and they booked flights that allowed them to get at that time. And she removed a lot of resentment from the whole experience, and she considered it part of intuitive travel planning. And then she went on to go to Alaska with her family for a really, one wonderful but dynamic trip, spending time with family. So I guess just feeling into what feels right. You don't have to do this. Again, you can pick travel however you want. But what I found is when I do not force something that doesn't feel right, I tend to have a more pleasureful, smooth, easy travel experience. I meet people who I'm more in alignment with. I might get a free ride at some point from someone, option to have yummy food, proper amount of rest. Different things happen that are pleasant. And I would just recommend playing around with this and see what happens for you. Intuitive travel. It can be done. Bye.